Arkan. All right, Shalom, Shalom, Israel, Shalom to the Torah, Yasha Allah, giving the course, all honor, glory, and praise unto the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem, Amashiach, Yahweh Shai. That's all praises, honor, glorification unto the Most High God, whose name alone is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, who the world refers to as Jesus Christ or Jesus Christo, who is the Savior of the nation of Israel. This brother Yasha Allah
Aria.
Khan, representing W5 Los Angeles through the Spirit. And we just got a request from the community that we make a video, all right, going into the statue of Daniel, the second chapter. All right. Going into what's the head, the arms, the belly, the legs, and the feet. What is this whole deal about that? Because you might read Daniel, you might go into the books of the prophets. You may open this up, and we encourage all Israel to go into the prophets, man. You got to go into the prophets: Isaiah, Jeremiah, Daniel, Ezekiel. Especially if you're a man of the Most High on the highways and byways. We want to go into the prophets. And guess what? The testimony of Yahweh Shah is the spirit of prophecy, man. Revelation 19:10. All right, meaning that what the if you got the testimony of Yahweh Shah, you can break down certain prophecies, and go into it. All right, come on. So yeah, precept on that. Start a precept.
Yeah. Revelations chapter 1 and verse 3. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. That's what we doing here. Keeping those things, those prophecies, holding dearly to the prophecies by reading and studying and going into history.
Yep, that's right. I got one as well. Acts 13:27. It says, "For they that dwell at Jerusalem and their rulers, because they knew him not." Meaning, who do they not know? Yahweh Shah, right? Because if you really studied the prophets and the prophecies, you would have the testimony of Yahweh Shah. You will understand Yahweh Shah and believe in him, right? It says, "Nor yet the voices of the prophets, which are read every Sabbath day, they have fulfilled them in condemning him." So the prophets are read every Sabbath, man. The prophets of old are renowned. They got sculptures for the prophets. All of this, all this stuff, and they're still spoken about today. I know plenty of people. Plenty of dudes named Isaiah. Know plenty of dudes named Jeremiah. You know what I mean? These names are prevalent throughout the world, right? Daniels. How many Daniels are in the world? You know what I mean? Right. So we're about to go into the book of the prophet Daniel, who was a very renowned man, right? So with that, let's get without further ado, let's get into it, right? So I'm gonna pull up the image that we're finna go into. So we're gonna start in Daniel chapter 2, verse number 1, and we're gonna read that to about verse number 5, just to get the little context of it, right? So I'm
One,
2 and 1, and then we will skip down. We
two.
will read and then we'll skip down. We're not gonna read all of it, right? But so yeah, so just to give a little brief synopsis, right? A little brief synopsis. Actually, before I do that, right, let's bring out a little brief synopsis about who Daniel is, and what time period he's living in, right? So Salaki, let me pull this up real quick. Actually, from here. All right, Khan. Right. I see that. Bear with me. Bear with me. Right. Go over here. Share the screen. So Daniel, prophet, right? So let's read this real quick. So Daniel, biblical figure, right? It says, Daniel, God is my judge, right? That's what his name means. Or my judge is God, either or, right? God. It says, according to the Hebrew Bible, Daniel was a noble. Now, when they say Jewish, we know what that means, right? Israelite youth of Jerusalem taken into captivity by Nebuchadnezzar II of Babylon. And we got to remember that name because we're going to read about him in Daniel the second chapter, right? It says of Babylon, serving the king and his successors, Salakia, with loyalty and ability until the time of the Persian conqueror Cyrus, all the while remaining true to the God of Israel. So this is true. Daniel was keeping the commandments. He did not look like this, though. All right, this is a false representation of him, right?
It is.
That's
Man,
madness, man. You know, and why are they always naked? You know,
always.
always naked. It looks like a. If you just show me this painting, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that probably looks like some Greco-Roman stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, like yeah, probably like some Greek stuff or some Roman stuff. You know, that doesn't fit. When I read the Bible, I don't see that, right? Because
Right.
I know that the people of the Bible don't look like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, come, but yeah, that's madness, right? But yeah, this is true. Daniel was a wise man. He was known just like Joseph, right? He was known to have the ability to break down dreams and visions. Okay. And so with that in mind, he was able to break down certain prophecies that was given to him by the Most High, right? And certain visions. So you come. I don't know if you had anything on that.
Nah.
All right,
You.
okay. All right. So without let's see here. All right, let's go into it then. Right. So let's go to Daniel chapter 2, verse number 1, if you want to bring that up.
Gone. It's the book of Daniel, chapter 2, and verse 1. In the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams wherewith the spirit was troubled, and his sleep broke from him.
Right. Go ahead.
Then the king commanded to call the magicians and the astrologers and the sorcerers and the Chaldeans for to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream.
Right.
Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Sirach, O
Syria.
king, Syria. I want to say
Syriac. Yeah, the
Syriac.
Syriac.
Okay,
Right.
Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. You
Right.
go.
So yeah, you good on that. So basically, the Chaldeans is same thing as going into the Babylonians, right? But nevertheless, these are the Babylonians right here. Now, ancient Babylonia is in modern day Iraq. So the land of Iraq, that's where ancient Babylon was.
Come
Remember the
put.
Babylon? It's like you
Can you
said,
put
what?
that? Can you put a picture on that?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah, I pulled
we
that
got.
up.
Yeah, I just seen. I remember. One of my friends. He was in the military, and he had went over there, took pictures over there. They still. It's. I mean, It's still there. The some of the. You know, like basically the empire, but it's desolate, of course,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's still there.
definitely. Now, if I even type up Babylon, yeah, see that? So, yeah, so this is what it would look like, you know,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they still got to
Yep.
set up, this is like an artistic representation of what ancient Babylon could have looked like, which
Mhm.
very well, could have looked like this, you know. Hey,
Right.
Babylon was known in not mythology but folklore that they had the Hanging Gardens, right? Let me bring that up, right? The Hanging Gardens of Babylon. And this is actually on the cover of Babylon too,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But this was a real thing that they had, man. They had the Hanging Gardens. You know,
Man, that's
so
dope.
I'm led to believe Babylon and especially the king's palace look beautiful. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Got the trees set up. Probably had the men dressed in royal apparel, the women dressed in royal apparel. In terms of these Babylonians, the wise men, right? They had the gold, the silver, right? Because Babylon was a very rich empire, you know, just like America today. You have bad parts, you have the good parts, you know,
Right.
right? So, um, so this is what Babylon looked like, right? Or artistic representation of it, you know, and so Babylonia. So as you can see on the map, this whole area right here was the extent of their empire. Now, as you can see, it's not that big. It's big, but we're going to see even bigger empires later as we go down the line from the head to the arms, on down. All right. So yeah, as you
Right.
can see, yeah, it went all the way from Israel, right, kind of from over here to all the way to Susa, what I mean, to the Persian Gulf,
Hmm.
right? Khan. So let's go back to that. Right. So yeah, let's go skip on down. So basically Daniel was going to come to the king to break down the dream. Right. So let's go to Daniel chapter 2. We can start verse 26. Keep reading on down.
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 2, and verse 26. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen and the interpretation thereof?
Right.
Daniel answered,
Right. And it's like I just want to make this quick point. You see how his name, it says whose name was Belshazzar, right? So and church, because you have the three holy children, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? And they always call upon the Babylonian names and not the Hebrew names, you know?
right,
Yeah. And again, so this shows you that just like Daniel, we're just like Daniel right now, right? Not
yeah,
in the sense that we are Daniel, but just that we have what a Hebrew name, we got our government name. You know what I mean?
right,
Certain brothers' government names may be, Marcus, you know,
Fred,
yeah, Freddie, you know, maybe you were born with the name Richard, you know what I mean, or Miles, right? But guess what? That's a Greek name. That's a captivity name. You know what I mean? Just like with Daniel, Belshazzar, that's what the king called Daniel. That's not what he called himself, right? So yeah, come on, but I just want to make a
and,
point of
and Shalaki.
that. Hmm.
He called them, as he said, by way of his gods. He
Yeah, yeah,
represented,
yeah,
he
yep,
represented one of Nebuchadnezzar's gods.
yeah,
And
yeah,
he tried to put that label on him. He had wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. But as we go further into this chapter, he realized that Daniel's God was unique than all the others,
that's right.
superior than all the others. So yeah, we go ahead and get it.
Yeah, Khan, exactly. And just a quick point on what you said. Belshazzar is a central character in the story of Belshazzar's feast in the book of Daniel. And the story, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia gives Daniel the name Belshazzar, which means Bel protect his life, or
Mm,
lady protect the king. You see that,
with the king.
right? So, you know, just like how certain brothers, their names literally go back to the Greek gods. You know what I
Yep.
mean? In the world, like certain brothers' names may be uh I know a brother named, his name is Justice. We're not Justice, Justin, right?
Justice, which is just.
Justin. Yeah, Khan. And that goes back to, you know, being just, according to his God, right? In the eyes of his God. Or, certain brothers' names is literally named after Greek gods,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And that
So
and that's if I can make a point real quick, that also
yeah,
shows in the New Testament when you see these Greek names, these was our people. You know what I'm saying?
right.
They were just under Greek. They was under Greek names like Daniel was under a Babylonian name.
Yeah.
They represent their gods. So that
Hmm.
just proves, you know, throughout history that every time the Israelites went into slavery, they was forced to get their names changed. And if there was great, then they'll name them after their own gods.
Right. Yeah, Khan. See that? You have some brothers' names Andrew, you know, and Christopher.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I just typed the Greek baby names, right? Greek names, and this will pop up, Christopher. But we know
Christopher.
that to be, Christ, though, you know. So not a Greek god, but you know,
She's both.
yeah, yeah, she is both. Catherine, Athena, Apollo, you know, Nicholas. You got a certain brother's named Nick. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, man. So it's the same thing in this society. You know, same thing in this society right now. But yeah, so let's go back to that. Right?
God.
Gone. Um, Daniel chapter 2, verse number 27.
Daniel chapter 2 and 27. Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king has demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the musicians, the soothsayers show unto the king.
Right?
But there is a God in heaven that reveals secrets and make it known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days.
Mm.
Put emphasis on that, the latter
Right.
days.
That's right.
Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these.
Right. So this vision is for many days. This vision is for the latter days.
Latter
Right.
day.
Yep. And just got a quick precept on that. Right. The latter days. What does that mean? Latter days. Not talking
Mhm.
about a ladder, right? You
Right.
go up a ladder, right? It's not talking about that. It's talking about the later days, right? The days that's going to come in the future. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 2, right? This is Daniel chapter. So like this is Daniel chapter 12, right? And verse number. Let me see here. This is Daniel chapter 12. Actually, this is not the one I wanted, but this is good enough. Daniel chapter 12, verse number 9. And he said, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end. Right? So, hey, Daniel had many visions that were for his time, right? That he would see in his lifetime, and also those that he wouldn't see in his own lifetime, right? That we would see, right? So he's looking from his time when he's living during the time of 6th century BC all the way to our time right now and past our time. You know what I mean? He looked even in the kingdom. All right. So Daniel was a major prophet. All right, but yeah, Khan.
God. In the latter days, thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into my mind upon thy bed, and what should come to pass hereafter. And he that reveals secrets, make it known to thee what shall come to pass. But
Right.
as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation of the king, and that thou mightest know, and thou Salaki, and that thou might know the thoughts of thy heart.
Mm,
Yeah.
right.
If I can make a point too,
Yeah.
when you look at it, you had all these astrologers, sorcerers, all these men of wisdom according to Babylon's standard of wisdom. And here
Mm-hmm.
comes Daniel, who was a slave. He wasn't
Right.
a free man, he was a slave. And yet
Point.
his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding was superior than all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And notice he needed a Hebrew to interpret. He needed an Israelite. He needed a Hebrew.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They always need a. You go back to Joseph. Hey, none of it was the same situation. You know, none of the mighty mans of Egypt could interpret none of these things until Joseph, the Israelite, came and interpreted.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Yep. Yeah, man. That's why the Lord said, "Wisdom lifted up the man that is of low degree, and maketh him to sit amongst great men."
man,
You know
that's
what I
right.
mean? Hey, so Daniel went from just being, as the brother said, Hebrew slave, to then sitting right up next to the king, man. You know what I mean? Of the whole empire, right? That's mighty, you
And the
know.
king
And
is getting the king is getting breakdowns from him. Man, that's heavy.
king is getting breakdowns because again, and we're gonna further expound on it too. But Nebuchadnezzar, when you read Daniel and you keep reading on, he goes through a phase of being proud, and then the Most High humbles him, and then he starts acknowledging the Most High in the book of Daniel, you
Yep.
know, and towards his death, he actually acknowledges that yes, Yahweh is the true power, you know.
Mm,
So hey, guess what, man? He literally underwent a metamorphosis, you know what I
right.
mean? And again, the king wasn't just some dumb dude. You can't rule over a whole empire and be hella dumb, you know,
Right.
especially back then. They didn't have phones, they didn't have computers, they didn't have all this stuff. So you literally had to rule off of your own intelligence. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So yeah, you know, they didn't have Chat GPT and AI, man, right back then. Or Google. What do I do in this situation? You know,
Right.
what do I do if hey, literally on the Google, one of the Google searches that's most popular is why is my wife yelling at me? You know? Literally, you'll type up why and it'll say, why is my wife yelling at me on the suggestions? You know?
Hey, that the scripture says that understanding is like a deep well.
Right, exactly. You know what I mean? Right. But you know, the point is, hey, guess what? They didn't have Google, Bing,
Right.
they didn't have phones, you know what I mean? But yeah. So and so like this is the precept. This is Daniel 8, verse number 26. And the vision of the evening and the morning, which was told, is true. Wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. And at this time, they didn't understand the vision, right?
Right.
But again, it's for many days, right? So yeah, con. But you go into it. Uh, keep reading on.
31.
Yeah, verse 31.
Verse 31. Thou, O king, saw and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood
No,
before thee.
Daniel, Salaki, Daniel 2:31.
Huh? Two.
Daniel, yeah, 2:31.
That's what I was reading.
Oh, Salakia. I thought you were reading 3 and 1, Salakia.
Come. Says, Thou, O king, saw and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible.
Mhm.
This image head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay.
Right. So this is it right here. I pulled it up from this website, and this is a very good kind of little, you know, uh picture right here. All right, because it's showing you from the Babylonian Empire and went and turned into the Medo-Persian Empire. All right, because you gotta understand. Let's get Sirach 10 and verse 8. I'm gonna get this precept real quick. Right, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 10 and verse number 8. Right, it says, because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So the Lord is always switching the world powers. He's always switching the power, right? Somebody hold the torch for a certain time, then you got
Yep.
to pass up the torch. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. right? You study ancient history, you'll know that. Any historian will agree. There's always a certain period of time in which an empire rules, then it falls, right?
Yeah, they usually say, scholars say, they say about 250 years, give and take, that a majority of kingdoms, they rise and they fall.
Right.
Yep, 250 years. Let me
Yep.
pull this out real quick.
2 years.
The
Yep.
book. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this out real quick. It's
You
the
got
book
it.
of Job. Yeah, you can show that though real quick, because that's that 250 years. Kind of
Yeah.
zoom in on that. I said this is the book of Job, chapter 12 and verse 23. He increases the nations and destroys them. He enlarges nations and straightens them again. And that ultimately, that's what the Most High do. You know what I'm saying? And he don't gotta physically destroy your nation like he did Egypt. He can destroy your nation through another nation. He'll bring one after your rulership is and your ruler your rulership is ending, and he'll slide somebody else up in there and give him the wisdom to dominate your empire, so he can be on that power seat. So
Yeah.
like the Akim is saying, every empire kept switching because the Most High is playing chess with these individuals,
Yep.
by way of prophecy and history. Yeah.
Yep. That's right, man. Yep. That's right. And again, hold on. So you have look at all these empires, man. The old kingdom of Egypt, it started from 2686 to 2181 BC,
Mhm.
right? The Akkadian Empire, which is very ancient empire. When you study the ancient history, you know, you have the new Neo Sumerian Empire, right?
Sumerians.
Yep. Middle Kingdom of Egypt, the Assyrian Empire, Babylonia. Now this is not the Babylonian we're talking about. We're actually going into the Neo Babylonian Empire. Neo meaning new, right? Because there was an old Babylonia prior to the Babylon we're talking about right now,
Right.
right? So
Bab-
that yeah, right. Hittites, everybody talks about the Hittites. I mean, the Hittite Empire, Elamite, you even had the Elamite Empire, you know?
And Salaki, that shows you the Most High gave favor for every nation to rule at a specific time,
Yep,
which gives nobody excuse in these last days.
that's right. That's right. Yep, exactly. And again, the power always transfers. Now you will have many empires on the earth at one time, but you will always have that one that's on top. All right.
Yeah.
If you don't have just that one, you have at least two, right? That's going at it. But you always have that one. Now, who's in power right now?
Right.
On top. You said what?
Yeah, it's kind of like you got empire, but then you got like a global empire that
Right,
kind of
right.
stretches his tentacles on every land,
Exactly.
and
Yep.
everybody's under his wing.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because now, when you look at the world right now, map of the earth or the countries, right? So when you look at all the countries on the earth, you have America is an empire, all right? It's not just the Constitution, right?
right?
Constitution is the United States. Guess what? The United States, where did they get that concept from? The UK, the United Kingdom, right?
Yep.
And where did they get that concept from? The ancient Romans, right? Because the Romans, guess what? You have provinces, and in every province, they differed in their laws, right? Even though you were born, let's say you were born in this province in the Roman Empire, okay, Khan, you're a Roman citizen, but you did have different provinces and areas of the Roman Empire, all right, which they all came together. The Senate, this is all in First Maccabees 8 chapter. You had the Senate and the president, you know what I mean? The elections, voting, all of that, originated and really came from the Greeks and the Romans. That
Yep.
ideology, of a democracy and republicanism. You know, one speak for all, or the power to the people. You know what I mean? So and so again, I'm gonna read this article real quick. So like you, this says the average empire survives for 250 years. Is America at death's door?
Mm,
Do you see that? That's mighty title. It says studies show that an empire survives on average a mere 250 years. Did you know that? To put that into context, the oldest person recently died at 124, so she lived nearly half as long as most empires do. Most Americans are unaware of this small but crucial statistic, which may
crucial.
suggest crucial, right? Which may suggest much about our country's future. It is past time for Americans to confront the painful reality that our time as a world superpower may be limited,
Mm,
right? And it is time to explore how to slow down what, frankly, is inevitable at some point. Of course,
right.
right?
And and
This
another
is,
thing, you
yeah,
see how you say world superpower?
yeah,
Because you got superpowers out here today, but it's not a world superpower. Because a world superpower means they controlling everything,
right,
and
exactly.
but there's never been two world superpowers in the same time. It
Mm,
wouldn't work. It would not work.
yeah,
So you only have one, and we see it on this statue right here.
yep.
One for each era.
Where the statue at? Damn it. Hold on. I think I gotta put. Oh yeah, it's over here.
Yeah,
Right,
one
exactly.
for each era.
One
Yep.
for what? Yeah, one for each area. And right here in Daniel 2, what we're reading right now, we're on this Babylon, the head of gold. All right. So again, this is Daniel. So really, Daniel, if you want to be technical, he was uh he was alive during the time of Nebuchadnezzar the second, his reign, and then his well, some scholars say it's really his grandson's reign after him, Belshazzar in Daniel, the fifth chapter.
Mhm.
Some say it's really his grandson, you know. But nevertheless, and then he entered when the power switched, it went from the Babylonian Empire to the Medo-Persian Empire, right, under Cyrus the First, and then Darius, and and whatnot,
Yep.
right? But yeah, Khan. So yeah, and then I just want to read just a little bit more, and then we go back to that.
Yep.
But this says, yeah, it says, as we consider historical empires, it is worth noting that the vast majority of Americans do not regard the United States as an empire in the classical sense, despite the fact that many people throughout the world do. All right. So everybody else saying America's an empire, but America is like, no, we're not an empire. Well, you don't understand what an empire is, you know?
Right.
You don't understand what it is. It says, however, for the purposes of this column, the United States, although being modern in every meaning of the word, does indeed qualify as an empire. All right.
Mm,
So you want to set the record straight for that. All right. Want to set the record straight and take it from them and not just us. All right.
right.
Gone. So yeah. But yeah, we'll go back to that. So like, so yeah, so it's lucky. Daniel was seeing or Daniel is breaking down the vision and just describing the statue. Right, you got it.
Yeah, let me pull this out real quick.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, this is Daniel chapter 2 and 21. And he changed the times and the seasons. He removes kings and set up kings. He gives wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding.
Mm.
Want to break that down real quick?
Yeah, come on. That's just going into the fact that the Most High rules in the kingdom of men. All right, as the brother said, he's playing chess. This is his game, right? Everything is at a set point. Okay, this is the time in which Babylon comes into power, and this is the time in which it falls, right? So this is the most side. This is how he plays his game, man, of chess. Right? He gives wisdom to the wise. He gives knowledge to the understanding. He can remove a king, just like how he's removing Joe Biden out of office. All praises, right? And he's setting up a new one, man. All right. So yeah, come.
God. Verse 32. Daniel chapter 2 and verse 32. Oh, well, actually, you want me to go over on that or come on?
No, read 32. We just keep reading on down.
Okay, God. This image head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou saw till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and broke them to pieces.
Mm,
Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and
mm,
became like the shaft of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. Man,
man. Hey,
that's where we at. We getting close to that.
we're getting close to that. Exactly. Right. So now, so as Daniel just told, now here's the power of the Most High. Because Daniel literally just told he just retold the dream to Nebuchadnezzar. Like he dreamed it, right?
Right,
He's telling him the dream, like he's the one that got the dream, right?
right.
You know what I mean? And then he's like, okay, look, now I'm finna break it down to you. You know what I mean? So that's the power of the Most High, man. It's only the
Mhm.
Most High doing, man. You know what I mean? Imagine you like, hey man, I just had a strange dream last night. And then, hey, Daniel's like, hey, look, I know. He said, I know. And here's what it's going into. See that dude you saw in the dream with the hat on, that's really going into this. And he pulls a
Was
precept
mighty.
on, right? Hey, that's mighty. That's mighty. It's mighty. Right? But yeah, come on, let's go into it. 36.
36. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thus, O king, are a king of kings, for the God of heaven has given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And whatsoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven, that has he given into thy hand, and has made thee a ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold.
Right.
And
So
after, yeah,
so like yeah, so we just want to it's like to dwell on that point. So Nebuchadnezzar the second is the head of gold. All right, in this statue that we see right here. All right, he is that head of gold. And why is it gold? Well, because this is during the time in which, again, 607 BC, this is when the Neo-Babylonian Empire came into power. All right, and it fell at around 539 BC. All right, and simultaneously, 539 BC, when Babylon fell, the next kingdom came up after that. But nevertheless, the head of gold is going into Nebuchadnezzar. The reason why it says Nebuchadnezzar is because he's the head of the nation. He's the head
uh,
of Babylon,
I
right?
got a precept on.
Yeah, come.
Yeah, I
And
got a precept. Yeah, go
oh
ahead.
yeah, you got yours. Yeah, you got it.
God, yeah, this precept on Nebuchadnezzar. This is Judith chapter 11 and starting at verse 7. As Nebuchadnezzar, king of all the earth, liveth, and as his power liveth, who has sent thee for the upholding of every living thing, for not only men shall serve him by thee, but also the beasts of the field, and the cattle, and the fowls of the air shall live by thy power under Nebuchadnezzar and all his house.
Mm,
For, for we have heard of thy wisdom and thy policies, and it is reported in all the earth that thou only art excellent in all the kingdom, and mighty in knowledge, and wonderful in feast of war. Yeah, so it just shows the power that Nebuchadnezzar was given. That everybody, every kingdom and kingdom, uh, neighbors, all the way down to, I mean, hey, his name went far across the earth.
Yeah.
At one point, everybody knew Nebuchadnezzar. So it showed his power, show how much wisdom he had. You know, his and, hey, when he set up policies, hey, it wouldn't just affect Babylon, but it'll affect many other kingdoms that he was attached to. So this man was powerful.
Yeah. 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 Nebuchadnezzar is very powerful, man. He's a very um, prominent figure in the Bible. Especially that of the Old Testament, because the prophets speak about him. All right. I'm gonna get another precept in Judith real quick to just
Yep.
showcase his power, and this is the reason why he was the head of gold. Because remember, gold is a very precious element, very precious metal, right? And so gold is very durable, very strong, it's precious. You wear gold around your neck, right? It looks good. You make gold out of it, a lot of different things. Gold menorahs, right? Gold statues that we see in Daniel 3 and verse 1. The gold chains that Joseph wore, that Daniel wore, the gold rings, whatever. You know what I mean? Certain brothers have gold fringes, right? So gold is a very precious element. And so the kingdom of Babylon was very strong, likened onto gold, right? Because again, as we brought up the pictures, there's a right. Salakia is on the other one. Brought the pictures of Babylon. Hey, look, this is a golden empire right here. You know, the hanging gardens. People chilling out. They got power. They got slaves. They got rulership over the earth. The earth is quiet before him, as it says. You know, what does that mean? That earth is quiet before him. That means that everybody bows down to Nebuchadnezzar, man. There was a time in which the whole world was quiet before America, right?
Right.
The Americans came in. Guess what? You better surrender, man, right? Because they're coming in fierce. They got tanks, missiles. You know, they got fighter jets, nuclear missiles. After World War II, hey, all of this stuff. Everybody knew that America was it, man. You know, even in Revelation 13, verse 4 and down, it says, "Who shall make war with him?" You know, so that's what that's going into. So again, I want to bring out Judith, the second chapter, right? This is Judith, chapter 2. Actually, I want to bring out Judith 1 first, and then skip down. This is Judith chapter 1, verse number 12. It says, "Therefore Nebuchadnezzar was very angry with all this country, Slakia, and swear by his throne and kingdom that he would surely be avenged upon all these coasts of Sicilia and Damascus and Syria, and that he would slay with the sword all the inhabitants of the land of Moab and the children of Ammon and all Judea and all that were in Egypt till you come to the borders of the two seas." So again, Nebuchadnezzar, the kingdom of Babylon was not playing. They weren't playing. You know, they they ruled the nations in fierce rulership. Right? It says, then he marched in battle array with his power against King Arphaxad in the 17th year, and he prevailed in his battle. For he overthrew all the power of Arphaxad and all his horsemen and his chariots, and became lord of his cities, and came unto Ecbatane, and took the towers and spoiled the streets thereof, and turned the beauty thereof into shame. Right? Now I'm gonna skip down. Right? I'm gonna go to Tobit chapter 2, verse number 5. It says, Thus saith the great king, the Lord of the whole earth.
Mm,
Right? So, and guess what? Nebuchadnezzar was known as the Lord of the whole earth, man. All right.
right.
As that, most I set him up like that. All right. So yeah. And again, out just a little bit on the Babylonian Empire, and then we can move on. Right. So Babylonia, right? From Britannica. Babylonia, actually, I don't want just Babylonia, I want Neo-Babylon. Neo-Babylon. Neo-Babylonian Empire. Right. The Neo-Babylonian Empire. So it says ancient Middle Eastern Empire with its capital at Babylon. It dominated much of Southwest Asia from shortly after its founding in 626 BC to the defeat of its final king by Persian King Cyrus the Great in 539 BC. Memory of this empire was preserved through the centuries by the biblical accounts of the deeds of one of its kings, Nebuchadnezzar II. You see that? And again, the Babylonians had their own chronicles as well, in which Daniel
Right.
is written about in their own chronicles, right?
Mhm.
Chronicles of Babylon, But yeah, that's just a little bit on that. All right, and again, we're not going to go too in depthly into every kingdom, or else it's going to take us all night. All right,
Right, right.
it's just, I mean, just so many. It's just so much stuff, and
And remember,
just doing an overview. You said what?
y'all want to make a point because
Yeah,
you said Daniel's is in Babylonian Chronicles. You're not going to see Daniel on there.
right.
It's going to say whatever the name they called him.
Yeah,
Now, just like there's certain books of Chronicles of Egypt, and they'll mention Joseph, but they'll mention his character that you can identify through the scriptures, but they don't say his name like his name was Joseph or whatever the Hebrew name of what's the Hebrew name for Joseph?
yo, what's up?
Yahsop. You know, you're not gonna see that. You're gonna see whatever name that they put on him.
Right,
I see that a lot. Even Moses. Moses' name wasn't to the Egyptians. His name wasn't Moses. So when you look into the history of the Egyptians, you're not going to see Moses. You're going to see another name. But if you look at his spirit and character, yeah, that's him.
right. Yep. Yeah, Khan, and I just wanted to make just one more point: the Neo-Babylonian Empire. So the Neo-Babylonian Empire that we're reading about right now was a monarchy. Okay,
Yeah.
we will argue, according to the biblical accounts, it was almost like an absolute monarchy, because in the absolute monarchy, whatever the king says, that's what it is. That's what we see. The narrative, the biblical narrative paints that the Babylonian Empire was an absolute monarchy, right? And as you can see right here on the Wikipedia, the type of government it was a monarchy, meaning mono, meaning one archy rulership kingdom, right? So there's one person ruling the kingdom, and that would be Nebuchadnezzar during this time. All right. Again, when you read the biblical account, whatever Nebuchadnezzar said, everybody obeyed. Nobody bucked up against him. Okay. Nobody was bucking up against the king, man. And I'm pretty sure nobody was bucking up against him and saying, hey, guess what? You're going to be put to death. Like, hey, if you said that to the king, you're going to be put to death. Right.
Right.
But now you have literally people saying whatever they want against Joe Biden. And it's like, it's nothing.
Man,
Ah,
you remember they had an uproar when Trump was in power after the little George Floyd thing.
yeah.
There was people was over there literally at the front of the White House shaking the hand at him. You know,
Right. Exactly. Yep. But yeah, come on, man. All right. So again, absolute monarchy. All right. That's the type of government and the rulership that the Babylonians had. And again, as it keeps going down, the kingdoms are going to get weaker. right?
Right.
They're stronger in certain points, but they're weaker in others. All right, so we're gonna read about that. Yeah, come on. You had something on that?
Oh no, it's a
All right, come on. So now we're gonna go to verse 39. So we're moving from the Babylon to Medo Persian.
Con, Daniel chapter 2 and verse 39. And after these shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth.
Right. So the other kingdom that shall arise that is inferior to the Babylonians, which would be what? Of course, the Medo Persian Empire. How are they inferior? Well, they're inferior in terms of what? Their government and the how and the way that they ruled, right? Because again, when you go to, for example, when you go to Ezra chapter 1, all right? Let's go to Ezra chapter 1, verse 1. It says, now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia. So now we're reading about the Persians, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. The Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom and put it also in writing, saying, thus saith Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven hath given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he hath charged me to build him an house at Jerusalem, which is in Judah. So again, Cyrus, the way that he ruled his kingdom, the Medo Persians, it was a more liberal kingdom. Now, what I mean by liberal is that he allowed us, because again, we were in captivity in Babylon. Yeah, but when we were in Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar and his successors, um, we were in deep bondage. All right. Likewise, also for the Medes and Persians, but we were in deep bondage and we couldn't worship our God. We couldn't worship the Most High, right? We couldn't really keep the laws like that. Daniel chapter 3, we had to bow down to the image, and if you didn't, you'll be put into the furnace to be burnt alive, you
Right.
know. But so that's how they ruled their kingdom. It wasn't really any freedom of religion. But when you study the Persian and Medes, and again, scholars will even tell you this, they ruled their kingdom in a way that because of their religion, which is called Zoroastrianism, Zoo, what is it? How you spell it? Zoro, Zoroastrian, right? Salakia.
Yeah.
Zoroastrianism emphasizes a never-ending battle between good and evil. So again, in their religion, this is the religion of the Persians and the Medes, right? So in their religion, it's more tolerant. They're more tolerant towards other religions in their empire. That's why we were able to worship our own God during the time of Cyrus. And he actually allowed us and was given a commandment. Cyrus even acknowledged Yahweh. And he said, look, Yahweh have given me a commandment that I must let you guys, the Israelites, go ahead and rebuild the temple, the wall, even in troublous times. You know what I mean? So they were more tolerant. And in that sense, they were weaker, right? Because
Right.
again, you didn't just have the Israelite culture, you had other religions within that empire, that within that empire of the Persian and Medes, which later caused division. But yeah, nevertheless, that's why they were called weaker. But they actually did have more land conquered. All right. But yeah, kind of, you got it if you had a point.
Yeah, yeah, they definitely stretched out way further than Babylon.
Yeah.
And that's one thing you can see when you go further down into these empires. They definitely kept stretching further and further out. They'll take all the land and different kingdoms of the first kingdom, which would be Babylon, but then yeah, then stretch, then just keep stretching, you know, and then that's where Israel start getting attacked as well. Uh, when you go like kind of towards the Greeks, we getting attacked in the land, we getting attacked. Hey, some of us were still in Babylon even around that time when the Greeks was in power. Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. And their land stretched out further. Now, here's the thing. When you have more land, it's harder to control, right?
Mhm.
Harder to control. Because think about it. This was again way before the time of technology, modern technology that we have right now. I can text somebody that's literally 5,000 miles away,
Right.
right? And they'll get it like that. You couldn't do that. If you were in Sardis, how are you supposed to talk to somebody that's all the way over here? You would have to what? Send a letter, send a messenger, and that's going to take what? A month? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They got to compass land, sea. They got to go over here, take rest. You know what I mean? So again, you know, just because your empire is larger, that doesn't mean that you're stronger because of communications and having to control such a large, massive, a large, what's the word for it? Some type, massive land. You know,
Right.
that's going to be more challenging to do so than to, for example, the Babylonian Empire was smaller, but they were able to control it better. Right.
Right.
So yeah, con. But nevertheless, uh, I just want to bring out Esther real quick. Yeah, appreciate just to show how big your empire was. Right.
Do you want that Isaiah 45?
Yeah, you can bring that out right after.
Yeah.
Yep. Because again, it's a lot of stuff I want to bring out, but for the sake of
Yeah.
time, yeah, we're not gonna bring out everything. But yeah, um, yeah, we gotta make separate videos for each kingdom for real. You know.
God.
Yeah, but Esther 1:1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, this Ahasuerus which reigned from India, even onto Ethiopia. So as you can see, this is going all the way to India, all the way to Ethiopia, man. Right? So the Persian and Median Empire emphatically was one of the greatest and largest empires of the whole world. All right, Medo-Persian Empire, right, was emphatically, all right, one of the largest empires ever, right? So Media, so this is Persia right here. Persia was conquered by Media. Slovakia, Media was conquered by Persia. They conquered Babylon. They went into Egypt, conquered Egypt. I mean, they conquered Lydia. I mean, the Persian and Medes was crazy, man. And they actually did reign for quite a while,
Yep.
all the way up until Alexander. And Alexander was on a whole different type of time, man. He was on a whole different type of time, bro. That dude was on a mission to just take the world, all right? And the Most High gave it to him.
Like the scripture says, take the kingdom.
Take the kingdom. He took that literal, you know. He took that. He said, "I'm gonna do that now. It's my kingdom."
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah. And they even have a Netflix documentary. I was watching it, and spoiler alert, but the first literally few minutes of it, the dude is like kind of they show him like kind of like sparring with somebody, and then I'm like watching it. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm skipping it, and when I skip through it, I see him just kissing on the dude, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? So, but at least they do acknowledge the fact that this dude was a homosexual, right?
Right.
Like, at least they do acknowledge that, yes, he was homosexual,
The
right?
freak.
Freak, man, you know. But certain homosexuals, man, because certain homosexuals are actually really strong, right? They actually are really strong because they're freaks. Like when you crazy, and something going like something's wrong up here, a lot of times they have like super strength. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you you look at certain people, like certain people that even had Down syndrome, you
Yep.
know, they be actually hella strong. I'm like, shit, you
Super
know what I mean?
strength.
Super strength, you know. But yeah, Khan, so like it says, which reigned from India even onto Ethiopia over 107 and 20 provinces. So they had literally 100 127 provinces. That's like having 127 states, you know.
Right.
But yeah,
And
Khan.
and how many bases America set up at in the world?
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? I
That's
think it's like 100 and some as well.
right. Yeah, that's see. And again, all these kingdoms resemble America. You know, they do resemble America. Now,
Or America resembles them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Khan, exactly. America resembles them. Because, you know, America's really just the combination of all these kingdoms together, you
Mhm.
know. Uh so so yeah, that would be the Medo-Persian Empire. All right. And again, we're not going to go too in depthly into it, but again, it came into power in 539 BC, had various kings, a very vast empire. And you can read about it in the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verses 1 on down, Daniel chapter 8, verses 1 on down. All right. So now we're about to go into the next kingdom. All right. So it says, transferring over, it says, another kingdom of brass which shall bear rule over all the earth. Now, this kingdom of brass is going into the Greeks. All right. So now we're talking about the freaky Greeks.
Free
All right.
Greek.
Yeah, the freaky Greeks. Now let's get first Maccabees 1:1. So you know that's no that's the number one precept when it comes to explaining the Greeks.
Huh. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smited Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece,
Mm,
and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth and went through the ends of the earth and took spoil of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him.
right,
Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up, and he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries, nations, kings, who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die.
right. So this is just a little intake on Alexander the Freak. All
Yep,
right,
it is
and
go.
yeah, he's he's the goat in prophesied in Daniel chapter 8 with the notable horn. That notable horn is going into Alexander the Great. All
Yep.
right. And you know, again, he's the great. He's called the great because this is the Edomites' like savior. Like this is the Edomites.
Yeah, this is where the world changed to white supremacists, so to speak.
Yep.
This is where the world changed, the shifting of the shifting of the gates were
Hmm.
changed into the vibration of white superiority, Esau reign. Because after this, it's just been a plethora of different events with these individuals who are Edomites,
Right.
warmongers.
Exactly. Warmongers. Yep. This is the Edomites. With the Edomites, the if you had an Edomite Hall of Fame, this would be the number one guy, right? Along
Right.
with Esau himself,
Mm.
right? But he would definitely be up there, right?
Oh,
Because yeah, you know, it's I mean, they're still talking about it, man. You know, history books and all this other stuff, documentaries, Netflix series, all this stuff, man, because he was the greatest. He's seen as the greatest Edomite. You know, one of the greatest Edomites to ever live, because the Mosai, and again, it's all because the Mosai gave it to him. But nevertheless, he conquered the whole known world in 12 years, you know? And he didn't really get to sit down on his throne and really enjoy the whole kingdom because right after that, he died, bro. Right? So, what does that show you? That this man's purpose was really just to fulfill the will of the Lord. That
Right.
was really just his purpose to bring, as a brother said, Edomite supremacy, white supremacy into the world, and then die.
Yep.
Because he died at a young age, 30 something.
All right, man.
See that? Some people say that he died of syphilis because he was freaking around, right? But he was born in uh 356 BC and died in 323 BC, right? And the Persian and Median Empire fell at around 331 BC, right?
Right.
So he conquered Babylon. It's like he conquered Persia, and he had to go around and conquer all these other lands. So you have many battles that go into that. All right. Well, when you watch videos on it, um, uh, what's that channel name? It's on YouTube, but you could watch. I watched a video on it about how it was the Battle of Apis, I believe.
Yeah, opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, the Battle of Apis, right? So the Battle of Apis was between, was it Apis or was it Salakia?
No, what? Matter of
That's
fact, opposite is
right.
Persia.
Yeah, Persia, Salakia. What was it? The Battle of Alexander the Great versus Darius battle. Battle of Guagamela, Salakia. Battle of Guagamela. Right. So when you watch the video on the Battle of Guagamela, it'll show you the strategy that he used because Alexander was greatly outnumbered. You know, the Persian and Medes had a lot of men. Alexander didn't have that many. But this is how you know it's all the Most High that he still won the battle. All right.
Right.
I was the Most High's. There's even accounts of people saying that there was chariots that came in and helped him, you know, to fight against Tyrus when they were fighting against Tyrus.
Yeah, like just like the scriptures says that these certain men are my servants. He called Nebuchadnezzar his servant.
Yep.
He calls these kings his servants, man.
Yep. You want to pull a precept on that? Or
Yeah, this is Proverbs 21 and verse 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water. He turns it wheresoever he wills. So it's the
Gone.
Most High ultimately, man. The Most High directs these men. If he wants them to conquer, it's for a purpose, leading it to a purpose. He already knows, hey, scripture says in the book of Isaiah 46 and 12 that the Lord declares the ending from the beginning, and from ancient times. So he already see all these things playing out. So when he directs these individuals, though they're evil and wicked, he's doing it for an essential purpose. So the heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord. So, hey, chariots flying. Hey, you had some Edomites in America that said they seen chariots fly during
Yep.
during certain wars in order to regain this country called so-called America. So the angels are instructed to do the will of the Lord, and they'll influence, and manipulate certain wars to make it go on the side of those that they're seeking to win and things of
Right.
that.
Gone. Exactly. Exactly. Now I can't find the article, but it's up there somewhere that he did see the UFOs during that battle of fighting against Tyrus. But nevertheless, yeah, as brother said, he was helped by the Most High, man. All right, it's not just because he's just that guy. He's just
Right.
that, yeah. He's just He's the Yahweh Shah of the now he's the David of the Edomites. You
Uh,
know, nah, man. David will whoop his ass,
man, what? And,
right?
and will.
And will. That's right. And will, man. Lord willing, and he's back on the earth, man. And he gets that power, you know.
Huh.
Come on, man. You know what I mean? He will whoop it, man. All right. Alexander, hey, look, it's the most high that gave him that power, and we understand that. You know, and this is why this is in the Bible. And Alexander is mentioned in the Bible many times, you know, first Maccabees, but right here, and also Daniel 7, Daniel 8, and also Daniel chapter 11, verse 1 on down. All right. But again, you know, for the sake of time, we're not going to go too in depthly into that. We're going to say that for next video. All right. Yeah, so we can go back to that 39.
God,
I mean slide 40.
God. All right, it's the book of Daniel.
The Secretion Empire right here.
Daniel chapter 2 and verse 40. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron,
Mm,
for as much as iron breaks in pieces, and subdue all things, and as iron that breaks all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise.
you see that?
There you go.
There you go, man. The iron, which is
All right.
what? Yeah, which is in the footnote, what? Rome, right? The Romans.
Ancient Rome.
The ancient Romans. How many times have we heard about the damn Romans, man? You know? And I'm not talking about the book of Romans. I'm talking about in the damn from damn middle school, high school, and college,
Yep.
right? The Romans. Hey, I mean, it's every other damn year it's a new movie about the Romans, man. You
Yep.
know? Why is
They
that?
coming out with a movie pretty soon with Denzel Washington. And he's like in the Roman Empire. He's
Oh yeah, yeah, right.
I don't know if he's like a governor or he's like a king. Either or. They trying
Hmm.
to rebirth that, make it another gladiator.
Gladiator 2. Yep.
Yeah.
Gladiator 2. Exactly. See that?
And he has to be a character. I noticed they starting to pull out, Jake more in these ancient movies, because they know, man. They know we was there. They acting like it was on the Edomites that was in Europe and these different areas. But
Hmm.
now that this truth coming out, now they want to bring certain individuals out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we was definitely up there in the gladiators because the gladiators, that's just who's your modern day gladiators? The boxers,
Yep.
MMA fighters, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Right. UFC. Yep.
yeah, UFC and who dominates in that, or who is really majority? What type of race of people is majority in there? Will be our people, you know,
Jake.
Jake, blacks and Hispanics, you know.
Mhm.
So it's the same thing. There's gladiator. Only thing is they fought to the death, and they don't do that now, right? But back then they would fight to the death. You know,
Shit, damn near though.
damn there, yeah.
Yeah.
And some people actually have died though. You know,
Yep.
yeah. Some people have actually died. But yeah, exactly, man. So the Romans, and this is the Romans in the Bible. And again, this is probably again during the time of Daniel, the Romans weren't a significant figure at all. Right? They were still kind of in the shadows. And in fact, they weren't really established at all because the majority of Romans were actually just Greeks that translated from being Greek to Romans. You know, that's why you have the Greco Roman Empire, right? Because they're basically one and the same, damn near. Like when you look at Greece, right? You look at Greece. Greece literally turned and transitioned into Rome. That's why they look almost identical, right? When you look at this, hey, this is like Greek architecture, because when you study the ancient history of the Romans, it is documented that the Romans actually appreciated and liked the architecture, the wisdom, the language, all of the stuff of the Greeks, because those were their forefathers, right? So that's why they were that their spirit bear witness with the ancient Greeks. All right. That's why
Right.
they build like them. That's why they, the Greek language is similar to the Latin language. That's why the music was similar. The food was similar. The way that they fought, and that their armor was similar. And so you look at Rome, but they took a lot of pieces from Greece and they just made it better. And again, Rome is likened onto iron, because this is a very, very, I mean, this is when Esau was just running rampant and was in his power, bro. This is when Esau was in his ultimate power during the
Yeah.
time of the Romans. You got it.
Yeah, cause yeah, cause Greek, the Greeks, they kind of just barely started, so they really didn't get that full power. Like, I mean, they had the power, but to kind of move through, kind of experience that power and kind of live that out. Yeah, they kind of imploded and kind of got destroyed, and then Rome just came in eventually. You know what I'm saying? And they got to experience that.
Mhm.
And that they got to experience that what that world rulership power really was about, instead of kind
Yeah.
of rushing through it like the Greeks did. You know. And then also I was looking at in Second Ezra's chapter 12, it kind of speaks on some of the emperors of Rome. It was 12. Let me just pull that out real quick. This is Second Ezra's chapter 12 and verse, straight to the point. Verse, well, I'll start at 12, but the main point is 14. So it says, but it was not expounded unto him. Therefore, now I declare it unto you. Behold, the days will come that there shall rise up a kingdom upon earth, and it shall be feared above all the kingdoms that were before it. Right? In the same shall 12 kings reign, one after another. Right? And those 12 kings goes into
Mm.
the 12 Caesars.
Yep.
I don't know if you get, if yeah, try to pull that out.
Yep.
Put the 12 Caesars. Right? These men, that's these are the individuals when Yahweh was even walking on the earth. They seen how much glory and how much the earth worshiped these men as gods. You know, Most High to strike one of them down.
Yep.
Go to the where it says the 12 Caesars, so you can see that picture. Because I went to images and it kind of showed it,
You talking about? Oh, you're
like
talking
the
about
picture.
images.
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. Yeah, these are 12 Caesars. And the scriptures, hey, this is Ezra's talking about this.
Uh,
And Ezra's he was slave in Babylon. Ancient Babylon, he was a slave. What was he talking about Rome?
yeah. Gosh.
There you go, right there.
That's in Spanish though, so like,
Okay.
yeah, bring it
You
up
know,
right.
like Nero, you got all these men that was tyrants. Julius Caesar, Augustus. Yeah, these are all the men right here, man. So when the scriptures talk about in Second Esdras just goes into ancient Rome and the power that they had, and how they playing a big part of prophecy. Like there's a quote that a lot of people use. You know, all roads lead to Rome. And hey, that's a fact, man. You know,
Yeah.
all roads lead to Rome, man. Everything we looking at is literally Rome. And we're gonna touch on that as we go further uh into the toes and things of that nature. But let me finish with 14 again. Second Ezra chapter 12, 14. In the same shall 12 kings reign one after another. You know, and some of them didn't even last too long to reign a certain period. You know, they was fighting for that throne. You know,
Hmm.
yeah. So we can stop right there on that.
Yeah, gone. And again, all of these things that we're saying pretty much are mentioned in the Bible, right? Again, Romans mentioned in First Maccabees, the 8th chapter. You can read that chapter, and if you know anything about the history of the Romans, it lines up exactly with that history. You know, the Senate mentions Roman words. The Senate, you know, Congress, all of this stuff came
Right,
from us. You know what I mean? You know, they had a republic, meaning that one person would speak for all the people. You know, that's literally what that means. One person for all, right? And that's where you have these various Caesars here. They would speak for the people. I did a essay on Caesar Augustus, who arguably was the one of the best Caesars of the 12, right?
right.
And actually did reign, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the longest out of them all, right? But yeah, I mean, when you go into it, man, hey, we encourage Israel, go into it, you know, go into it. Hey, do your research, right? Go into the different kings, the different empires, right? The different precepts on it, you know. Hey, as the brother said, the Romans are mentioned, and their policies are mentioned in the book of Acts, Acts chapter 18, verse 2, the exile of the Jews from Rome,
Right.
right? Hey, you have Paul went to Rome, all right? Um, Roman laws. Paul said, "Look, I'm a Roman too. Look, man, I'm a
Right.
Roman. So before you,
Rome.
yeah, I'm Roman. So before you bring that whip out and start whipping me, I'm Roman. So be careful what you do, all right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. So, but yeah, but yeah, like I said, for the sake of time, we're just kind of going through it, and we're just breaking down how, okay, how is it iron? How is it clay? How is it? What are these various kingdoms? And there's many articles on it. So, if brothers want to go deeper into it, brothers can, or sisters. All right. But I just want to read this little commentary real quick on the history. So this is on Daniel 2 and 4 verses 40 through 43. It says, after the Greek Empire, the thighs of bronze, there will be a fourth kingdom as strong as iron. Daniel explains to Nebuchadnezzar, right? It says, this fourth empire is undoubtedly Rome. The Romans were brutal and powerful in ways unlike the empires before. They would obliterate entire kingdoms to make a point of their power.
Mm.
Sounds like Esau. It says
Yeah.
the kings, the kingdoms of Babylon, Medo Persia, and Greece tended to subjugate other kingdoms to gain tax revenue. Rome did this as well, but also sometimes committed genocide, right? That word, genocide, and Esau, kind of go hand in hand, right? And cultural destruction merely to establish its dominance, right?
Right.
So the Romans, they're different because they're like iron. They want to dominate the whole world, right? And the Romans, they ruled for a long time. All right. They did rule for a long time. But then towards around 470, what was that, 476, all right, AD, they had at that time they had split into two, the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire, which later became the Byzantine Empire.
Yeah.
All right. At that time, the Western Roman Empire was just ransacked; it was gone. The Eastern Roman Empire, which later became the Holy Roman Empire, um, was really the one that you know stood. All right, but it says, for example, the Romans razed the city of Carthage to the ground in 146 BC. Now, remember, Carthage is a city in North Africa. All right, it
Yeah.
says slaughtering over half the people there and selling the rest, 50,000 survivors, into slavery. Carthage was a prosperous city that could have enriched Rome, but it had sufficiently offended Rome's prestige to the point that Rome decided to eradicate it. You see that?
Yeah,
So
because
now,
you had Greeks over there too.
yeah, yeah, come.
Yeah, you had there were certain cities and certain areas where the Greeks was dwelling at in Carthage.
Hmm.
This is why you got Edomites saying that Hannibal was an Edomite because there were Edomites over there in Carthage around that time, but it's further from the truth at all. You know,
Right,
Hannibal was an Israelite.
that's right. Yeah, come. Right. So again, I want to read this whole thing, but it's too long. I'm gonna just read a little bit more of it. All right, and then we're gonna keep going on to that. But it says, um, see here, Rome battled Greece for many years, but after the Battle of Corinth, 146 BC, the Greek peninsula belonged to Rome. All right, so that's when the Greeks finally fell to the Romans. The Romans put its conquered people under Roman rule, setting up governors and military presence in their new lands. Some of the conquered people were assimilated into becoming Roman citizens, and young men were conscripted into the Roman infantry. This is represented by the feet and toes of the statue that were a mix of clay and iron. It says it represents Rome's unparalleled toughness and strength. The empire was a vast mixture of different languages. So again, that's why it made it weak. You see that? Babylon was the strongest. Then it kept getting weaker because of the tolerance of bringing all people together. You see that?
Right.
Babylon wasn't about that. Babylon wasn't about bringing all people and cultures and languages together. It said we're gonna have we Babylon. All right, we're Babylon. You better worship the statue. If not, you're gonna be put to death. All right. I don't want to hear, hey, no, I'm an Israelite. Hey, I'm not trying to hear that. Right.
Right.
That's what the Babylonians was like that. They were strong as gold. Right. But as he kept going down, it was more tolerance. And then you
Right.
have the checks and balances coming in, right? The Persian and Medes then went down to the Greeks. And guess what? In the Greeks, you had kings in Greece, but again, you had the checks and balances that had to kind of check in because you had the democracy come in. So in a democracy, it's the people rather than just one king deciding the laws and the decisions, right? Now you got a government. Now you got you know various democracies set up now. And then going to the Romans again, now you had the Senate, you got Congress, just like you have America, you got Congress. Joe Biden can't just say, "Hey, look, guess what? We're declaring war on Russia," without checking in with Congress. He has to get the okay from the government, right? But, hey, can we go to war with Russia? He has to check in, man. And Congress says, "No, we're not going to do that." Then but guess what? Did Nebuchadnezzar have to check in with anybody, man? You know,
Wow.
man. He said, "Look, guess what? We read it in Judith." He literally said, "I'm gonna kill all you Moabites." Right? He said, "I'm gonna kill all. I'm gonna be avenged." That's what he said, and that's what he did. You know. But yeah, nevertheless, again, it's a lot to go into, but for the sake of time, um, right? So again, yeah, let's go to verse 41.
Come. Verse 41. And whereas thou saw the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron. The kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou saw the iron mixed with miry clay,
Mm-hmm.
and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
Go ahead.
43. And whereas thou saw iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Man, that's heavy.
That's heavy, man. Because this is where we're at right now. We're at the toes, man. What does the toes represent? The end, right?
Man,
That's what that represents. We're at the end of this man's kingdom, all right?
yes.
And the toes that's mixed with iron and clay is going into the revised Roman Empire, okay? Because even according to that article, Rome didn't really fall like that. It was just broken into pieces. Again, it split, Western, Eastern, and then the Eastern lived, and then it turned into other kingdoms, right? And then you have the rebirth, the Renaissance, right? In 1546, around there, circa,
Job
right?
9:24.
Job 9:24. And then you have the Renaissance, and then it transferred from the Renaissance within Europe, and then that strength kind of transferred in the 1700s. Well, really, Spain first. It transferred to Spain, and then it transferred to Britain, and then it transferred to America, right? France also had, some power as well, definitely, but it also transferred to America, and then America, that's where we're at right now. It's
Mhm.
partly strong, but it's partly broken. It's divided. You know, America's divided, man. We don't have to go too in depthly into that to know that America's divided. Okay.
And even the European unity that they had is divided as well. And,
Yeah, that's
you
right.
get into Isaiah 19, 1 on down. It talks about, or 2 on down, talks about these kingdoms. Are there? He says the brothers are going to fight each other, and they've been
Mhm.
doing that. Hey, you go all the way back to the World War One and Two. The book of Revelation chapter 9 kind of talks about that. Like these
Yep,
wars started with them.
that's right.
So it was already breaking in. We thinking that's the beginning of their kingdom, but that was the beginning of the end of the rebirth of Rome when they started fighting amongst each other in these different creating these World War One and two, and pretty soon World War Three is on its way. You know,
Man, that's right, man. Quick precept.
yeah,
Second Ezra 13:31. It says, and one shall overtake to fight against another.
yeah,
It's like one city against another, one place against another, right? It's like it says one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. You see that? So that's what we have going on right now.
right,
Democrats over there, the left wing, the right wing, right?
mm,
Some oppose Trump, some are in favor of Trump, right? Some oppose Kamala, some are saying, "Hey, Kamala's better than Trump." You know, some say, "Hey, guess what? Gun laws." Some say, "Hey, Second Amendment." You know, so you literally
abortion.
have. You said what?
No, I was there. Abortion.
Yeah, abortion, right? Abortion. Hey, guess what? I mean, the school systems. Hey,
Mhm.
the jab. You know what I mean? Hey, the pestilences. So America is so divided. All right, it's partly strong. The military is you know, they got other parts of America that's very broken. All right,
Yeah,
very broken. And more insight on that is Isaiah the 19th chapter. Now it says Egypt, but you have to put on your spiritual mind and know that Egypt is not just going into the ancient Egypt, but the new Egypt aka the new Roman Empire, aka America. All right, if that makes
Okay,
sense,
I got that.
right?
It's Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 1. The
Yep,
burden of Egypt. Hold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved out of his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And that's kind of going into that rock in the book of Daniel where it talks about the stone coming out of the mountain and smashing that whole statue. It's talking about Yahweh Shah.
that's right.
Uh, verse 2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Yeah, so that's like the Akim was talking about. These kingdoms are these different unions like the EU, NATO. You know how many people left NATO and these different unions that they had. You know, Britain broke our America broke free from Britain. Like all these breaking up from the beginning to the end, it just caused this structure of the rebirth of Rome to be weakened and to be strong at the same time. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? You got it.
yeah, man, that's right. That's right. Yep. Yeah. So and yeah, we almost saw 'em, man. Two more precepts. We almost saw 'em. So, oh, it's like it. Let me just show the diagram. So again, so starting from Babylon, you have Babylon, head of gold. Okay, they were the strongest in terms of every aspect, not just you know, um, not just the government wise, but well, really mainly government and how they kind of ruled the kingdom, right? And their ideologies, and also the fact that Babylon and the Medo Persians honored to a certain extent the Most High, right? They did honor the Most High to a certain extent, but when you get to the Greeks and the Romans, they did not, right?
Yeah.
They didn't give a damn, right?
Yeah, I guess Nebuchadnezzar, he honored the Most High's power.
Right. Yeah, he acknowledged the Most High. He said, "Hey, he the one that set me up." Well, that's after he got humbled. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
right? So,
It's
but
heavy.
it's heavy. You know, but again, and then Medo Persia, right? 539 BC. Greece, 331 BC. Okay, you can read that again. First Maccabees 1. Rome, all right. And then going down to America, all right. Going down to America, or the revised Roman Empire,
Hmm.
all right. So that's where we at. Now, let's go ahead to verse 44, all right. Let's go ahead to verse 44. You got it?
Oh, so like
You good?
2, verse 44. The book of Daniel, chapter 2 and 44. And in the days of these kings shall the Yahweh of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the
Mm.
kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Man.
Go ahead. One more.
45. For as much as thou saw that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it broke in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God has made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure.
Bahashima Mashiach Yahushai, man.
Uh,
That's right, man. And that stone that came and broke up the statue, that stone is Yahushua.
Con, I got a precept for that.
That's right.
Con, this is second Ezra chapter 13 and verse starting at 5. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graven himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and temperance. You right there. So hey man, Yahweh
Mm,
Shai coming as the last emperor.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? And he's coming to conquer. All right. And
right.
so the Lord, the Most High, kept switching these empires until it came to the empire of his son, which is
Mm,
going to be forever. Amen.
right, man. That's right, man. One precept on that as well to show that Yahweh Shai, he is my rock. Right.
Huh.
As Isaiah chapter 28, verse 16. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I lay in Zion, not all nations. I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste.
Right.
Judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet, and the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies. Woo.
Wow.
And the waters shall overthrow the hiding place, man. All right. Yeah, you can hide in Islam, man. You can
Yeah.
hide in Christianity. You know what I mean? But guess what? Yahweh Shah is coming in like a big old boulder, just rolling down the hill at 100 miles per hour to break in pieces whatever's in front of it, man. You know,
Right.
just like how
And
you
it
see.
said, and
You said
it
what?
even said there's not going to be no more history of these nations or these Pacific kingdoms. Where's that
Right.
at? Where's that at? You see real quick.
Here it come. And it's like just real quick, just like how
Yeah.
you have a landslide. I seen a video of a rock just crush a car when it fell. Look at this big old rock, bro. This is a SUV.
Man.
This is Yahweh Shah just coming
Ah,
in,
that's Yahweh Shai coming down that mountain. Is
man.
that old song? He'll be coming down the mountain when he comes. You know, man, he gonna come down and he gonna come down like this. This is Daniel chapter 2:35. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, the gold broken to pieces together and became like the shaft of the summer threshing floor. And the wind carried them away that no place was found for them.
Mm,
See that? Ain't no place gonna be found for them, man. It's not gonna be artifacts of Babylon, America, no more. Oh yeah, this was ancient America back in the day. Nah, it ain't gonna be none of that. All right, there's no history is gonna be left, no trace of history is gonna be left of this place because the Lord is gonna set up a kingdom, and the government is gonna be upon his shoulders. Who are the 144 uh, elect men of the Most High, and the
right.
saints. And he says his kingdom is going to stretch just like the kingdom of all the kingdoms before. But we went to Babylon, Persian and the Medes, Greece, Rome, and the rebirth of Rome. Hey, the Lord gonna stretch out his kingdom just like that, but even further. All right.
Mm.
And knowledge, let me bring this out real quick. And the knowledge of the Lord will be like the waters of the seas, man. Everybody will know. All right, this is Becca chapter 2, and verse 14. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord as the waters cover the seas. All right, so
That's
that's
right.
real colonization right there. You know what I'm saying?
That's
We'll talk
real
about
colonization. That's
That's
right.
right.
Yeah, that's
God,
right. Yahweh Shah, the conqueror.
the
You know,
conqueror, true conqueror.
and just like on a spiritual level in Revelation 6, he that sat upon the white horse went forth to conquer. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right.
Hey, guess what? That's, on a spiritual level, you could apply that to Yahusha, right? He's going to be
Right.
upon the white throne to conquer all nations, man, in righteousness. You know?
Crowns upon his head. So
Yep.
he literally doing. If you ever seen that movie 300, where the messenger, it was a Persian, I think it was a Persian messenger. He came over there. He was a brother. He came over there on the horse, and he came to the Spartan people, and he pulled out heads of kings. And the horse just kind of peeled back. I was like, man, that was my. I was thinking about Yahweh on that scene. I'm
God,
like,
God.
man, because the Lord said he got crowns upon his head, man.
Right,
You
man.
know, he's the true conqueror, the King of Kings, man.
Mm-hmm.
So the Lord gonna stretch just like Alexander the Great, just like Cyrus, just like Nebuchadnezzar. All right, just like all the Caesars. They stretch forth their kingdoms. And the Lord gonna stretch forth His kingdom
That's right.
until it hits the whole earth, man.
That's right.
True conqueror.
The true conqueror. That's right. So yeah, man, with that, all praise to the Most High. We went the time, but hey, man, we really didn't go deep into it for real. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
If we went into it,
basic.
yeah, yeah, just basic, history going into the four or really the statue, the head, the arms, whatnot, and just quick overview on that. Most are willing in the future we can go and depthly just touch on one specific kingdom after another, just to get insight on that, and we could take our time and stuff. So with that, all praise to the Most High. You got a closing precept up?
God.
Now I got it after you. So all praise to the Most High. And again, if anybody has any suggestions of, what they want to break down, uh, if you wanted just a quick video, you could, just hit us up on the email, Instagram, comment on one of our videos, and we will definitely look into it. All right. Quick breakdown, in-depth breakdown, you know, hey, all praise to the Most High, you know. So again, this was a per request of somebody hitting up the Instagram.
God. This is the book of Romans, chapter 8 and verse 37. Nay, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through him that love us.
Mm,
You know, man, the Lord said we more than all these conquerors. Alexander the Great, Cyrus the king. All right, all these different conquerors, all the Caesars, all the 12 Caesars, all these conquerors. Hey, the Lord says we more than them, man. You know what I'm saying? Because the Lord, the King of Kings, is going to come and conquer all these different empires, man. So with that, God.
God, man. That's right. That's right. It's the book of John, chapter 12, right? Verse number 36. While you have light, believe in the light, that you may be the children of light. These things spake Yahweh Shah and departed, and did hide himself from them, man. So you say, hey, man, well, you have the light, believe in the light, man. All
That's
right.
right.
And what is that light? That light is Yahweh Shah, which lighted the whole world. All right. Not the Statue of Liberty, but Yahweh Shah. All right. The light, the true light. All right.
True
So with
love.
that, gone. All praise Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Shah, Brother Yasha Allah.
Hurry up.
Come back to yet another video through the Spirit Power Yahweh Shah representing WFI Los Angeles. Hey, Kwame Yasha Allah. Shalom.
Whoa.